Hello, this is Darth Blint, and welcome to today's video. Today I'll be talking about Star Wars Episode 9, The Tragedy. As some of you may know, the extended book is coming out, or by the time that you have seen this, has come out, but certain parts of the book have already been released to the general public. And the movie, I'll admit, horrible, terrible, in ways that I personally don't think I could look over. But it gets worse, unfortunately. The book complicates things to a different level. And what I'm talking about is Palpatine as a whole. He stretches across all of the films, and honestly, they call it The Rise of Skywalker, but the Skywalker lineage is dead. It should be called The Rise of Palpatine. That would have been an insanely better title. And I think that the whole, like all the Jedi scene at the end was kind of crap. Like they totally ripped that off from the Avengers. Like when he's like, "I am Iron Man," snap. But real quickly, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe, hit the like, and leave a comment. It enters you into an Ultra Saber mystery box giveaway that I draw live on the 20th of every month. If you're already subscribed, you know what to do. Leave additional comment and like on future videos to get more entries into the drawing. Okay, now that I'm done shilling myself out, let's get back to the topic at hand. The extended, storyline from the book. If you can't complete a story in one movie, break it up into two. Episode 9 felt like it was two movies that was mushed together into one. There's no downtime. There's no, oh God, like the scene whenever, Chewbacca they thought he was blown up. He's like, oh God, no. And then just a second later, oh, never mind. Or, the scene whenever... Anyways, I'm not going to sit here and go scene from scene, but you know what I'm talking about. It's all over Episode 9. It's kind of crap. No one really enjoyed it. And, something that I was really hoping they would have done at the end is whenever Rey was down and, and she heard the voices from all the past Jedis, why not have the ghost forms of them appear? And then around, Plagueis, have all the ghost forms of, like, previous legends. Sith appear. You know how cool that would have been? And include some Sith that we've never seen before and know nothing about. That would have been an epic way to tie in the prequels. Like you could have all of a sudden had a connection there. There were so many things that they could have done to, I know what you're going to say. Sith don't have Force ghosts. And yeah, that's true, but they can put their essence inside of items and yada yada yada, and they're on a freaking Sith planet. Why wouldn't their essence be there? I'm sure some would have been. But anyways, in the extended book, we find out that she's not technically the daughter of Palpatine, which completely throws off everything. And we also find out that the Palpatine that we see in the movie, it is confirmed, is a clone and not the original Palpatine. The body from Palpatine did die in Episode 6. And like when you see the smoke come up or whatever, that's his essence going into a body that he had already done, had cloned. But apparently, she's not even a daughter of that clone. She's a daughter of a failed clone which had no Force capabilities. And so whenever Palpatine says that he had a child in the movies, that's no longer true. It is a separate Palpatine clone which had no Force abilities and rejected being a Palpatine and left the Order to live in a quiet life and blah, 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 blah. Which, I get it. It's a cool idea, like a clone that does its thing. But she's a daughter of a man who has no Force abilities, is a clone of a person who died in Episode 6. And so they're making this so complicated, and honestly, I'm a little upset with what they've done there. You know, I mean, they should have. It's the storyline was simple enough. Oh, she is a child of Palpatine. Okay, that is now an argument point against anyone who's ever called her a Mary Sue. Now she can be Force strong because she is in the blood lineage of someone who is incredibly powerful in the Force. But then they ripped that away from her too. No, technically her father had no Force abilities because it was a clone of Palpatine that never had any Force abilities. Well, guess what? You just made her a Mary Sue again. Congratulations. One-handed clap. You know, like that just completely destroyed whatever semblance of cohesion that you made to begin with. And it's upsetting to me that the way that Disney, I will say, whenever episode 7 came out, I was genuinely surprised. I was like, oh, okay, it's a retelling of episode 6. So what? You know, I mean, it's done in a way that I could get behind and have generalized hope for the future films. When Rogue One came out, I was like, holy crap, this is raw. This is what Star Wars is. This is awesome. If this is the way that Disney's going to be doing Star Wars, great. I love it. And then the dreaded episode 8 hits. And all of my hopes and dreams for Star Wars died for the future of Star Wars. Because why? They wanted to make too many political statements in a fantasy film. I've already had this argument point in a previous video, but I don't watch fantasy to be drawn back into reality. You know, I don't read fantasy novels to be drawn back into reality. Don't do that. I do it for a version of escapism. You know, everybody does that, you know, in one way or another. But anyways, so then episode 9 came out. The hype got back up because Palpatine's back. I'll admit, I got on that Palpatine's back hype train. I was like, oh man, Palpatine's back. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be great. And I went and seen the movie on the premiere night. I spent like $250 on merchandise. And I was like all hyped about it. And I remember getting out of the theater and being like, you know what? The movie is all right. You know, I wouldn't rate it high. I wouldn't rate it low. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And the reason why I said that at the time is because, well, everything happened so quickly, it doesn't give you time to think about what's going on because it's off to the next scene. So you don't really get to see the contradicting, you know, things that are going on until you sit down and actually analyze the film and what is really happening. And so I think it was designed specifically for that in mind, so that they could get high sell margins or ticket sales and resells. And so after about 48 hours of seeing the movie, I was like, yeah, well, you know, even Sandy, we left the theaters and she thought something before I did. She's like, wait a second. If he was killed, doesn't that mean that he won? Because wasn't that his plan, was to be killed by her to begin with? And then I headcanon said, yeah, but technically he killed himself with lightning. But he still died and her body was there. Why couldn't he have just taken her essence? Isn't that the whole thing? And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, they didn't really explain that so well. So I don't know, you know, like, and I was like, well, okay, there's that. And then it was like, whatever, you know, there's one thing. And then it was like, wait a second, you know, and then one thing, and then there was another, and then just, and a little thing started crumbling down. And I was like, hold on, I got to reevaluate my opinion on this movie completely. And I'm hoping beyond hope that Disney has learned a lesson here. They're not making Star Wars movies for us fans now. They're making them for future fans and how they want them to be. That's what I think. They're either doing that, like, yeah, we are a billion dollar company. We can afford not to have fans now, but we're making films by projecting what we think people will be like 20 years from now. And those are the people we're making films for right now. But when The Mandalorian came out, I was watching that, and I remember seeing the episode where Yoda used Force Hill. And I said to myself, like, it was me, Sandy, her brother's wife, And we were all just sitting there, that literally became a weekly thing that we all just got together and watched The Mandalorian. And the second Yoda did the Force Hill ability, I was like, that is ability I have never seen in canon before, and I guarantee you they're having Yoda do this so that whenever they pull some shenanigans off in episode 9, that they will say it's already in canon, and if Baby Yoda did it, then you have to be okay with it. I mean, I remember saying those words literally a second after that scene took place. And sure enough, it was like a dyad where Ben gives his life so that she can stay alive and yada, yada, yada. I don't think Ben they fully tapped into Ben as a character, The whole Sith turned good. That's a unique storyline, or a Sith turned gray, or whatever you want to call it. I would like to see that done in better. And he needed to have more of a development, and I don't know, I feel like I enjoyed him in episode 7 whenever he got upset and he basically took his lightsaber and was just hacking crap apart because he was PO'd. I was like, yeah, that's something, emotion, anger, release it. Sith, great, let your emotions be your passions. He's doing that, and then things kind of went weird in episode 8 with him, and then in episode 9 it was like they reverted from episode 8 but not completely, and it was weird. His storyline kind of got wonky after episode 7, and then they're trying to, I don't know, there's some interesting comics that are canon that take place before episode 7 but after episode 6, like when Luke was training Ben. And what was really interesting is I would love to see, and I don't know how the community would feel about this as a whole, is I would love to see a younger Luke. I know it would have to be a new casting, but someone that could project his personality pretty well. I would like to see him after episode 6 and before episode 7, the training of Ben, because in the comics they go to a Sith temple and Luke's got all these abilities that we never got to see in on film, and like the prime Luke, I want to see that. We got a snip of him and Leia training after episode 6 whenever he was training Leia to become a Jedi, and I don't know, it was, I want more content like that, That's just my personal opinion. But, anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Episode 9, I'll admit, was horrible from a 2020 hindsight's perspective, okay? But I'm still going to keep my merchandise because, I'm a collector. And one must collect when one collects, And, yeah, so this has been the video for today. I am Darth Blint. And you know what? Message down below, what content do you want me to see in the future? I'm going to be doing lightsaber dueling videos. I know that has been yelled out at me. Do some lightsaber dueling. Do some lightsaber dueling. That is in the works. It's just about finding a partner to do that with. But that is going to be done. Also, currently, this video may come out after I get my Saber Mock or my Vectras. Yes, I have backlogged, but that's because I have a busy lifestyle. School and yada yada, and having up my life and yada yada. So I'm trying to get caught up on having videos made so that there's a stream of content for you guys. So yeah, leave a comment down below. What would you like to see? And here is a hidden word. Some videos are going to start having hidden words throughout. If you happen to randomly include the word banana in your comment, don't tell people to do this, but if you particularly use the word banana and get to this point in the video, say something like, I love bananas. Bananas are great. Yeah, like, oh yeah, you should do this kind of the content. Have you had a banana today? Like, just randomly, that will give you 2 entries on this video for the saber drawing. If that is seen on this video, you will get 2 entries instead of 1 for the saber drawing. I just want to. I'm doing an experiment. I may do this again in the future. Who knows? But this has been Darth Blint, and may your chains be broken. Until next time, my friends.